because we're going to be down again. Okay, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and go ahead and get started on this. I guess we can ping everybody. I'll let them know that we are starting revenue management. Okay, so I'm going to go and step on that. Hi all RM build slash Bukit Vista. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and again, let's take a look at this. So, all right, Dominic is here with me today, and we're going to go and walk through revenue management. We've been doing revenue management every day now for the past few days. Okay, so let's see. Are you ready to get your mind exploded? You ready to?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what we're going to talk about right now is forecasting methods. So currently, what forecasting methods are you familiar with right now, Dominic?
Projections.
Yeah, how are you doing forecasting and projections?
By looking the past year or month revenue.
Exactly. Okay, so we look a little bit at historical, and we give ourselves a growth factor. But what is the way that actually we actually set a projection? Like in the past projection meetings, what do we generally do? We look at a few numbers. We look at
Weekly sales.
we look at weekly sales.
Revenue.
Right. We look at the initial starting point,
Yeah.
and we look at the weekly sales. But there's actually, so that's essentially like a type of model. We look at the initial starting point, we look at the weekly sales. This type of model is what we're using right here. I'm going to move this over here. So this is bigger stats now. Let's see. Okay, we'll wait for that to load. We'll probably close all the other stuff that we don't want to. Okay. Sorry. There's no fast way to do this. Okay. Close. Okay. All right. So we can see right now, based on, let's say, October, right? So we don't have a revenue model yet for October, but we can start with what we have. So we can see that essentially in October, we're starting revenue is at how much?
208,000.
That's actually not the starting revenue. That's the
Okay.
starting plus what we've made so far. So this new graph shows essentially how much was made before and how much is made in the month of. So what is our starting for October? Not 208, it is
The orange one, I think, is
the
This
orange one is the extra bit, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
203.
Right. So we started October with 203. So 203 was the amount of revenue we achieved for October check-ins, but before October. So our starting point is already at 203. And for October check-ins. Okay? And then the second week of September, how much money did we make for October?
20,000.
Yep, 22,000.
22,000.
Okay. And then the week after that?
250,000 also.
And then
31,000.
Okay.
50.
okay, so far it's 15. So today is October 2nd. There's still how many more days before the boundary line?
4.
Okay, there's 4 more days. There's 4 more days. We can kind of calculate, right? What we expect to make. So let's say from September 29th until now, today is October 2nd, right? So it's 15,000, right? So 15,000 divided by how many days since September 29th?
3.
3. So we're getting about $5,000 a day, okay? So let's say if we take that $5,000 a day and multiply it by how many remaining days are there?
4.
4, and we add it to 15, which is how much we've made already. 15.
55.
Yeah. We can expect roughly about 35,000 more in the first week of sales. So that gives us a idea of how this is going to progress along. So once again, we have to determine the model. Now, this is the part that is interesting. All right, when we determine a forecast model, we have to predict what the shape of this is going to look like, right? So there's a few shapes it can look like, and I'll show you. So let's see. These are called distribution curves. Are you familiar with the distribution curve?
Yeah, the T-square.
Yes, there's T-square, and then there's, what other distributions are there?
T-square is like the high and then it's becoming low.
Yep.
And then the linear is like the straight.
Yep.
all the
Very
ways,
good,
yeah.
very good. And then?
Measure one.
Okay, so there's all kinds of distribution curves, and these are some of the things that I have brought up over here, right? They're sort of like random walk, exponential smoothing, auto-regressive models, additive regression models, all kinds of different ways to actually create a forecast. There's also all kinds of other ways that over here, all kinds of other distributions too as well. So this might look, oh my God, there's so much weird stuff, right? And it might look intimidating, but it also is, I think, what makes revenue management fairly fascinating too.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of different ways and tactics that people have thought about distributions, and these are actually here too as well. Okay, so I'll show you another piece of information that I'm reading. All right, so since it's just me and Dominic, we'll go into some radical stuff. Yeah, we'll go into some like thick stuff. So there's, in terms of distribution, this is a Bernoulli distribution. This is a kind of interesting distribution. Do you know what a Bernoulli distribution is?
Nope.
Okay, a Bernoulli distribution is very, very simple. It is simply just, so this is a normal distribution. You can look at a Bernoulli. Ah, there it is, a Bernoulli distribution. Bernoulli was actually a scientist. Do you know what Bernoulli did for humankind?
Maslow pyramid?
No, that's Abraham Maslow. What did, this is a new piece of knowledge.
Nope.
Okay, so Bernoulli, sorry to go on the sub-story, but since we have got some time here. Bernoulli, what he did was actually, Bernoulli invented he figured out how wings work, right? He was credited for this particular insight about how things work, but he also has a Bernoulli distribution. He has some math term named after him. So a Bernoulli distribution is this value, the other value is that. So it's essentially just like flat and then flat, okay? So now you can really sound intelligent and you can say, hey, that's a Bernoulli distribution. Here is essentially a uniform distribution. So we can also check what uniform, we can also look for a uniform distribution. And that's also fairly flat, right? So it's like dot, dot, dot. It's like a step distribution. And that's also indicated by the math here. It's 0, and then it's some value, and then it's 0 again. So that's what uniform distribution looks like. Now, why are we talking about these different types of distribution?
To determine which distribution we can use for the projections?
Exactly. We want to determine what kind of distribution is the best suited based on our understanding of weekly sales. So, if we look at, let's say, our weekly sales, we can look at the graph and then we can try to figure out, okay, what kind of distribution actually fits what we're seeing here in practice. We might find out actually, I have a hypothesis. I have a hypothesis that says, I think if you look, we said chi-square, right? But I think the problem was with chi-square, you only looked at it from the beginning of the month. But if you looked at it before the beginning of the month, and before the beginning of that month, and before and before and before, my hypothesis is that it would actually look more like normal distribution. Right, it would look like essentially in the weeks before it's small, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it peaks around the first and second week, or the week before the month and the week of the month, and then it starts decaying again. And so if we want to check that out right now, it's a little bit hard. Why is it hard?
It's not like showing what is really happening.
Yeah, so it's hard for us to see normal distribution across, let's say, the weeks before the month, because
Not sure.
okay, so right now we're in the month of
October?
We're in the month of October, so we only see distribution right now for October. We can't see what the September distribution look like now.
Okay.
Right? So that's kind of like a big bummer. Okay, so to switch pathways really quickly, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a look at September. And what I hopefully did in September, I hope I did this, was I tracked what the weekly sales in September were before September. Okay, currently, Dominic, which revenue management beats are you working on? Okay, so 1, yeah? Okay, all right, let's go ahead and dive into that in a little bit and see what's going on there. Is Alpha working today?
No, it's taking it off.
Oh, how dare he miss revenue management? Okay, what about Rizal? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up the sales projection stats and take a look. I can't go back in time for weekly stat. I'm hoping I covered both sides, the before September and the post September. Let me hope that I put in no.
No.
I can't believe I didn't do that. Ah, okay, so what I wanted to show you was I was hoping that it would look like this, and then it would look like this afterwards. But now,
Yeah, you didn't have the September sales.
we'll never know. We must have put it somewhere. Must have put it somewhere.
I think it's on the August projection. No?
It can't be in the August projection because the August projection won't show us September, right? The side that I'm looking for is I'm looking for the other side of this. You see, these are already in August.
Oh.
You see, this is in August, August. And what I need to see is what was my weekly sales in September? How much did I make the first week, second week, third week, fourth week? Because my hypothesis is that this would actually follow a normal distribution. It would look very small, and then would grow to a peak, and then grow small again. Now, if that's the case,
That's missing.
yeah, if that part's missing. But I'm excited. I'm excited because if that's the case, what is good about that?
We can see on the revenue we made the month before and then
Yes.
divide it by 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you can now not have to wait until the beginning of the month to see what the weekly sales. So before we would use a chi-square model. So the chi-square model would essentially allow us to understand what the third and fourth and the first, second, third. We would need to really know what we made in the first week to predict the second week and then the third week and then the fourth week because we would need that first week of data. So now, if what we've noticed is that we can start looking at weeks before. If we can start looking at before the first week of the month, let's say October, if we can see back in September how much are we making for October, we can then build that distribution up. And the way we do that is this. And it's exciting. Whoop.
Oopsie.
Okay.
Wait.
Go ahead and take it. Take it out. Again, it's right here
Yeah.
on this particular slant.
Yeah.
So before we thought that was chi-square, right? We thought that essentially it would look like that and it was rolling down. But what we're thinking now is that if you zoom out and you look at, let's say, the weeks before, it might not be chi-square, it might be normal distribution. So if it's normal distribution, then right now, today, we can start looking at how much we're making in terms of weekly sales for November.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And so if we know what we're making right now for November and it follows the normal distribution, then what we can do that's very exciting is we can predict what we're going to make in November already. All right?
Yeah.
Just like back now, let's say today is October 2nd, back in September 1st, if we knew that our weekly sales looked like this back in September 1st for October, we can kind of predict what the next step will be and what the peak will be. So this gives us a really interesting tool. This gives us almost a way to forecast a month before if it follows a normal distribution, right? Okay, I have for September right now, I have what was happening up until the first week of September, right? So I have sales showing, this is for September again, not October, and we're trying to do forecasting, we're trying to do revenue prediction. We're looking at, let's say, August 11th, August 18th, August 25th, and September 1st. But the problem right now is whenever I look at my stats, I can't see September sales anymore, right? I see October sales. So the September data is lost. So Dominic and I were like all sad about that until we realized we can see September sales if we go back to our all hands. So we had an all hands on September 30th. Perfect. So now we can look at it and we can see what we did on the September sales. And you would no!
Is that making sense? No?
Yeah. But there was that stupid chunk of crap in there and
Oh,
it screwed it
yeah.
up.
Oh shit. No!
It's like the worst possible case. All right, let's go back. Go back to the
Or can
all
we
hands
just-
before. Let's go.
Or can we skip the September and then we go to the August.
Then you
and-
can't see what it was then, right? Yeah, we can't see. In August, we couldn't see what okay, but what we can do is we can go back one more for September 30th to maybe September 23rd. Okay, so we can see at least what was happening until the last week of September. Okay, and here we are. It's probably over here. Drum roll.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see what the weekly sales are. All right, there we go. All right, that is what we're looking for. Thank you very much. All right, unfortunately, we don't have the last 2 weeks, but at least we have the first 2 weeks, right? So now we can add this part. Okay. Okay, now you have to like kind of composite this in your mind. So you have the weeks leading up before, and then you have the weeks leading after, and let's see if it looks like a normal distribution. Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay, so let's see. Not exactly, but okay. Let's say this was 48, so this is over here, and then if this is the peak, then the two sides after the peak should be about the same height, right? Because if you look at normal distribution says that you have a peak, and then the next two wings are about the same height, and then the next two wings are about the same height, and then just lower down, right? Like a pyramid, like a hill. So let's see if that actually is the case. So if we look at the projection, we see that, all right, on the first week after it's 38, and the first week before peak is 27. So not exactly. Yeah, not exactly. The week in is slightly higher than the week before. Make sense? So this is our peak at 48, and we look at the 1 week distribution. It's actually kind of skewed.
Yeah.
It's sort of higher on the in-month side than the pre-month side. Is that normal? What do you think about that, Dominic?
Yes.
This side is higher than this side. So if it was normal, each side would be the same height, right? This side would be the same height as this, and this side will be the same height as that. That would be normal. The side on the right is taller than the side on the left. So why is that happening?
Or is it because we want to show that the normal distribution based on the yearly, but this one is for the monthly, weekly sales.
Okay, normal distribution, I said yearly based on monthly. We're using normal distribution as a way to say this, right? This is the secret power that we want to have. We want to be able to look at, let's say, for example, November, okay? And then we want to ask ourselves, how much revenues how many weekly sales are we actually making right now for November? And then we can add, just knowing that one part, we can add the entire curve for the 4 weeks before November and then the 4 weeks of November together, add it to this right now, and then get our November projection. So we can estimate further into the future. Currently, we can only estimate, let's say, after the month begins. But if we can assume that, how should I do this? I'm going to use a piece of paper to explain this. This is really good. Okay, it's going to be amazing. Okay, all right. So I need a thick marker. So, okay. So let's say currently, I know this doesn't help anybody who's watching this, but okay, let's say we have A and we have B. So our current model is this, right? We think that we're getting essentially a chi-square model, right? So we think we're getting a chi-square model. This is week 1, this is 2, 3, and kind of 4 over here. It declines, maybe not so dramatically, but that's that, right? So what we need is essentially, we need to start the month on the first week. We look at the initial revenue, right? And then we kind of take a look and we try to guess how much future revenue is going to be there according to this model. But we still have to know what the first week is in order to estimate the second week, in order to estimate the third week and the fourth week, right? So that puts us at a disadvantage because we need to wait for the initial point of the month, and then we need to wait and see what we're getting the first week in order to make a good prediction. So let's say the second model. So if the second model is essentially, it's not chi-square, but it's normal distribution over here, right? So let's say this is, let's just say this is the current month, October, okay? This is also the same point, October. So now, at September, if you know that this is the same as this, right? This piece is, let's say, piece A, and this is piece A, and this is piece B, this is piece B, and this is piece C, and this is piece C, and they're equal, right? Then what you can do is this. You can start looking, and if you know if you know that B is 2 times the size of A, and C is, let's say, 2 times the size of B, then all you need is A. You just need to know how much you're making the first week of September, and you can predict how much you're going to make October already. So that allows you to essentially speed up your predictions if it follows a normal distribution. Make sense? You don't have to wait until the beginning of the month. You can just start looking at it right now, right? So if it follows that type of relationship. And so that greatly improves the forecasting ability, and that also makes it faster. So you can do that. Okay, great. So, but the problem side AA star. So what we're seeing is essentially this side in the month is higher than the corresponding side before the month. Makes sense? So it's like you cut it in half, and one side is heavier than the other side. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do? Is this normal? What do you think about that? So the side before the month begins does not correspondingly have the same amount of revenue as the side after the month begins. Is that normal? Is that predictable? Is that consistent? Okay, it's not normal, so it can't be a normal distribution.
Yeah.
But is it consistent? Would you expect that to be consistent? The week of, would you expect that, let's say, the sales for October right now is going to be the same or higher than last week's sales for October?
Higher.
You'd expect this week to be higher. Why?
Because to be higher.
Okay, all right, kind of there, but we're just talking about week of sales, right? We're talking about last week. Last week was September, right?
Yeah.
Last week was September. We were taking bookings last, so now is the first week of October. Would you expect there, because this is right on the division line, right? Before October, first week after October begins. Would you expect that there'd be more sales on this current week than last week? For October. Ooh, right? Why is this part after the month begins taller than this part before the month begins?
Is there any event in Bali?
I don't think it's actually related to any event. I think it's going to be consistent every month. I think every month the sales in the beginning of the start of the month will be bigger than the sales the week before.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
Oh, sure.
I think it's consistent. And I think the reason why is people make a lot of last minute. Then I believe that all the people who want to stay in October are booking right now for it. But if we're in September, I believe some people will still wait until October before they make a booking. That's what I mean. So essentially, the week where October begins, I would expect that week to have higher sales than people who are planning to come the week before. Because all your last minute bookings start getting counted in, right? And before that, your last minute bookings are not getting counted in. Okay, could be right, could be wrong, but it's just a hypothesis, and it's okay. So my hypothesis is this. My hypothesis is now, it's okay if the distribution, is actually not balanced. It's not equal on each side. But then we just need to ask this, how much is it imbalanced by, right? What is the percentage imbalance? And is that imbalance always consistent from month to month? So that's my new hypothesis. And this is what makes revenue management so interesting, is that now you can write about it. So on my October projection, I'm going to open that up, and I'm gonna offer this as these are the things that we talked about. So I'm gonna make a hypothesis now. I'm gonna put in a okay. I've already put in my distributions for October. I'm going to replace chi square. So I am going to predict something new. I'm going to say I predict that distribution of, and this is just weekly sales. Weekly sales will be normal distribution, but skewed in the month of the sale. Okay. So when okay, so that's a weird. I don't know what word to use yet for it. What I'm saying is this. Okay. So then once again we have the A, have a B. So normal distribution looks like this, right? Okay. So what I'm saying is I think it's going to look like this. I think it's going to look like this, and then it's kind of going to look like this, right? It's going to look a little bit fatter on each specific week, but I think there is a corresponding relationship. And so then all I need to figure out is this, right? Let's say this is the C side, this is the C side, this is the B side, this is the B side, this is the A side, this is the A side. So that's the symmetry that we're using. Let's call it a C. Okay, so it's a little bit different, right? All I need to figure out is how much bigger is C than C sharp than C? How much bigger is B sharp than B? And how much bigger is A sharp than A, right? And then I know, if I know A, I can predict anything. If I know B, I can predict B.
Yeah.
If I know C, I can predict C. All right? Okay, so let's go ahead and try to see if that kind of makes any sense, all right? And so then go back to the September projection, because this is where we started thinking about it, and this is where the data is. Okay, so then we need to kind of graph this out and write the table. So in the table, we can do this, right? We can go, which side is it, and what's the corresponding, I'm going to call it a loin. It's like a slice of beef. We call it the loin. So we're going to call it the week 1 loin, and then the week 2 loin, and then the week 3 loin, and then the week. Unfortunately, we don't really have the 4th week because our data's cut off here because we whatever. So all right, and then what I'm going to see is I'm going to have 2 columns here. I'm going to have 2 columns here, and I'm going to see the before week, or before the month begins, and then after. Okay, after the month begins. And then I also have my center cut, right? I have my center week, and that's kind of like a unique thing. So, all right, so my week 1 before the month begins is what value? Okay. No. Okay, let's look over here. What's the value of the week 1 before the month begins?
24,000?
No, it's 27,
Oh
right?
yeah, 27.
This is the week before the month begins, right? Yeah, so look at 27. So, okay, 27 is my week 1 line before the month begins, so that's 27,000. I know it's a little bit different on this table than that table, but let's look and see what the week after is. What do you see as the week after?
38.
Yeah, 38. Okay, 38. Okay. What I'm hoping now is this. What I'm hoping is that these percentages will be pretty close, right? And then I'm going to figure out what is my percentage difference, right? Okay, so let's take a look. This is 38, and 38 divided by 27. So it's about a 40% difference, right? There's a 40% more amount of sales on the week after than the week before. Okay, then let's take a look here. I guess these are the 2 sides I can compare. What's my week 2 before? Result.
23.
Yeah, 23. And what's my week 2 after?
32.
Okay, 23 and 32. Okay, so let's take 23,000 and then 32,000. And I'm hoping that it's going to be pretty close. Holy shit! Holy shit! That's crazy. It's 39%. That's super close. Yeah. That's super close. Okay. All right. Now my week 3 gets a little bit hard. But what's my week 3 data? Okay, over to Dominic. What's my week 3?
Week 3 of September ya?
Mhm. I'm in August
Oh,
now.
I was at 24?
24.
Yeah.
24. And unfortunately, at this point, this is where things break down, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't see what week 3 is in September because I'm handicapped by, because it's more than this, right?
Yep.
Because it's this value should be until September. I can't even read that, but this all hands was done on September 23rd, and this is on September 29th.
Mhm.
So I don't know, right? But so far, it looks pretty strong.
Yeah.
It looks like basically if you can look at your center point and you look at each point, you can figure out the corresponding thing, and then maybe you can also look and see what the relative value of, let's say, I need to know that center value too. The center week was actually that's kind of a unique value. This is the center value. The center value was around 48,000, right? This is the big cut in the middle, 48,000, and that started on after the month began, right? September 1st. Okay, and then you have a 48,000 in the middle. Okay, all right. I really want to know now. Well, maybe let's predict. Let's predict. Okay, let's predict. Let's do BB stats. Can't because old BB stats has moved on. Now the weekly sales show October. They don't show September. I know, fucking shit, right? But maybe we can go to Buddy and say, hey, can you rewind this in time for us? Maybe we can slide it back and see what this thing looked like last week, right? Or 2 days ago. So, yeah, I know. I look at it every day, but I forget to record it because I think it's still going to be there. But yeah, when the month changes, it's not there. Okay, what I'm going to do is this. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to predict, and we're going to use this. We're going to use some math. We're going to do 24 times 4. So let's predict. This is our prediction that this was probably around 33. If it still follows like a 40% model, then 24 times 40% should be 33, right? Okay, so let's say we're predicting that this was 33.6. Okay, and then, okay, all right, let's keep on going. What was the 4th week of the cut?
27? Yeah, 27.
No. Yeah, it was 19, right? Was it 19 or?
Okay.
We've gone 1, 2, 3, 23, 24. 27. Wait, what? What's going on here? What? Oh, because this.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we've gone over once, twice. No, it's over here now, right? Right? Yeah, it should be here because this is our 3rd week, and yeah. Okay, we gotta know what we're talking about here, right? Okay, so we put in 27, which was the first one here. Oh yeah, 23, which was this one, but looking at this graph, and then 20. Yeah, you're right. Okay, 4th week over is 19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4th week is 19. Okay, and then if we take 19 and we multiply by 1.4, we get 26. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to add up all that plus the initial value of September, and if that gives us the end revenue of September, then I can assume maybe these are right, yeah?
Yeah.
Make sense? I'm going to add up all my weekly sales plus the weekly sales that I can't predict,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to add the center value, and then I'm going to add it to the beginning revenue, but I do know what the end revenue is. All right, so here's where the drama is going to unfold, okay? Ready?
Okay.
So we're going to add up all these numbers. And if all these numbers add... Wait!
What?
I just thought of it. I can figure it out. I can mathematically figure out what those numbers are. But, okay, let's just do this. This is faster this way. So we're looking for 380. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a few numbers together, right? So the starting revenue for September was... No.
Let's see.
Right there. All right, 259. Okay, I'm going to move this over here so we can do the calculation. So we're looking at 259 plus and then we go over to this side, and plus what? Plus
Center value?
center value 48, plus
58,
38, plus
52,
plus
53,
22.6.
plus.
22.6. 26.6.
Too bad. We got 437, which is too high.
I think we can delete the point of the calculator, no?
We made a mistake. We made a mistake. Okay. What's the mistake that we made? I just realized.
We in week 3 and the week
There's 5 weeks here.
oh yeah, and then no like this one is for the center value.
Yeah. So the center value was actually the first week, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So actually that's why we got confused. There is no third week. There's no fourth week because the
Okay.
fourth week is actually the 5th week now.
Yeah.
So it can't be that. So we're just looking for really that, right? So if there's no last part, let's see how close we got. We got to 410. Is 410 right? No. So it's actually no because we only have 381, right? So that actually is kind of weird because that means then that's right though. Now I'm confused. Okay, why am I so confused?
Because the third week is
We only have like the week 1, 2, and 3.
I know. So week 1, 2, and 3 equals the entire amount of what we made in the month. So what do we make on the 4th month? The 4th week. Something is not right. Okay. Something is not right. Okay, so this is a bit bizarre. I can't explain this right now. Unless we make only $3,000 the last week, which I doubt.
so
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is 38,
Oh, wait a second.
52.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. 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 So what the problem is, we have the initial point, we have the first week of sales, we have the second week of sales, we have the third week of sales, and that's pretty much the entire revenue. What was the last week of sales? It couldn't have been 3,000. I think that's impossible.
Maybe the fourth week.
But it's already started on the
on the October, first October.
Oh, did it? Let's see. Okay, all right. So the 4th week started in October. Let's see if that's cut just that way. No, the 4th week was September 2nd to September 29th. Right. So, okay. So we have a puzzle, and the puzzle is how did we actually get? That's so weird. That makes no sense. Okay, that actually makes no sense. That puts me no confidence on this data now. Okay, the reason why the data is odd is because if we take the initial starting points and we add up all the weekly sales, it doesn't quite make sense. Okay, all right. So disappointment and tragedy. But okay, I think we could actually be onto something. I think we could be onto the fact that 40% and these sides, yeah, this kind of normal distribution with the height and skew after the month begins, it could be correct, and it could be, yeah, like the corresponding side is 40% bigger. So maybe it's not actually like this. Maybe it's a little bit more like, so B and C. So we said it would be like this, and then higher this, right? Right? Like that before?
Yeah.
Maybe it actually doesn't look like that. Maybe it actually looks like this. Maybe it looks like this is big, this is taller, this is taller, and this is less tall, this is less tall, and this is less tall. And this is your A side, this is your B, this is your B, this is your C, this is your C, this is your D, this is your D, this is your B prime, C prime, D prime. So, maybe it's like this. A is the first week, and then the B prime side is bigger than the B side. The C prime side is taller than the C side, and the D prime side is bigger than the D. So, does that make sense? Kind of like, okay. So, A is your center cut, and then each wing after that, the right wing is slightly bigger than the left wing. All right. So B prime is slightly bigger than B. C prime is slightly bigger than C, and D prime is slightly bigger than D. Yeah. So that's what we're essentially saying is that's different than this, right? Because this one is essentially saying, I guess it's kind of saying the same thing. But okay, all right. So we sort of have a model now. Yeah, have a model for what it could be. Let's go into some practical stuff now. Let's do some revenue management, rocking Ray. So you work on Bukit Vista. Let's take a look at Bukit Vista. Bukit Vista now. Okay, Bukit Vista now. We're using the new BB stats, or bigger stats, so this should look a lot clearer. Sorry, I'm gonna have to turn off that water here, because.
Number. We have a date with number right now.
Oh, that stuff gives me a headache. All right, do you guys hear it? I heard.
Yes, I know.
I heard younger people are more like, you know, they hear it more than older people. No? Okay. You're wrong. All right. Okay. Rumah Budi Susanto. Show me what's going on here. You don't have to. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the booking pace. So, back in time. Ooh. Let's go back in time 4 days. Okay, so 4 days ago it looked like that. Oh, wow. Wait, hold on, Andre. Wait, Biden must have just rolled this out. He must have just been playing around with this. Okay, wait. Maybe we can go with the company now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hey, welcome in.
Joining.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's take a look and see what's going on here. This doesn't go back in time for me, I think, for September weekly sales. I think it goes back in time for me for October weekly sales. How do I know that? Or do I know that? A October value, right? If that's weekly sales for October, that would change. If it's September, it would not change because it's already passed. Okay? So let's go down and see if this changes. All right, try to remember some of the other values before September. 31,000 and 22,000, yeah? Okay, let's go 0 days back in time. See what happens. It's the same.
Yeah.
So it probably means it is sales for September. Or maybe not. Oh wait, let's look at this one. This one is the most 15,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back in time. Oh, let's go something crazy. Let's go back in time 20 days, right? If it's September sales, then it wouldn't change. But if it's October sales, it would drastically change. I think it's October sales. Yeah. Okay, so it's October sales. It's not showing September sales. Okay, all right. All right, so we have the back in time function now. That part is kind of cool. And you see essentially what booking pace looked like 20 days ago too as well. All right, let's look at Budi Susanto. Budi Susanto. All right, so Rizal, what do you think about the booking pace of Budi Susanto?
Example is
Okay.
it's pretty good. So.
Yeah, not bad. 3 bookings in about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks,
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and what do we know about the weekly sales, Dominic?
The weekly sales is so the first week of September is like 100.
The weekly sales. Do you think there's a revenue risk on the weekly sales, Rizal?
Yes.
Yes. There's definitely a revenue risk here. You see, you're moving from about $2,000 worth of sales a week to 100 to 0. Now it's back up a little bit, but it's not like that much.
Yeah.
Now, so any owner, when they talk about price, the most important thing is, okay, all right, set your price, but you should be getting sales. If you set your price high and you're not getting sales, that means nothing.
Infinite.
Yeah, it means you just got zero. But if you set the price high and you got more weekly sales, that means you were right. You should increase the price. If you lower the price, if you're in this condition right now, this is almost a classic condition of you need to reduce the price. You need to change something because nobody's buying this product right now. Yes, people are coming in, they're buying or whatever, but it's not for significant amounts. So I would suggest that essentially pricing needs to be changed if they want to achieve the same amount of weekly sales again. Success looks like what any business should be doing. You should constantly be selling. If you run a boxo shop stand and you up the price of your boxo by, let's say, just 2,000, well, if you're correct and the market could actually pay that 2,000, your weekly sales will go up, right? So let's say you made 10 million a week, now you make 15 million a week because you raised your boxo price by whatever. But if you went from 10 million a week to 3 million a week, right? By going up in price, that means the price change didn't help you. It actually ended up hurting you. So something to remember, or November? 9.
30. Yeah,
Nine.
9.
Okay, so that should be 10 million in November.
Yeah.
Okay, well wait, that's cool. Which is about $745,
Yeah.
right? Ah, wow. Okay, this is an improved. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new feature. So now what has happened? Yeah, 10 million. Now it is split correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what you see is actually accurate. So whatever is in November counts as November. Whatever's in October counts as October. You don't have those giant skews anymore. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Still very surprising. Still very surprising. So we're getting more room nights sold in November than October. Okay. Let's. What should we be thinking of right now?
Think about the Cape night at October.
Yeah, we should think about gap nights in October because we have probably a lot of, starting from now, the entire month is a gap night.
Yes.
It's not a gap night anymore. It's just, why is it not a gap night anymore?
It's like the next meeting is still is far away from now.
Yeah. A gap night really just speaks about unusable nights due to limitations in availability. But the entire month is available.
It's not good.
That's not a gap night. Okay, we've run out of time. We're about 11 minutes overtime right now, and you know Dominic's looking at our watch. So we gotta decide something. What would you do, Dominic, in this particular case?
Change the price.
Yeah, you gotta change the price. And it looks like today there's still a guest
Yes.
staying, and starting tomorrow it's empty. It'll be empty until the end of the month.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, try to persuade the owner to come down the price. And the way to persuade him is actually to show him your weekly sales, sir, have dropped from $2,000 down to 0, down to 100, up to about $200. So if we want to make, let's say, $500 next week, then we should probably think of a different game than what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And any reasonable owner will then say, yeah, that makes sense, right? Okay. And if they think, all owners always they say this: if I sell it, then I won't make any money. You're not making any money anyway.
Yeah.
It's like if I sell it too cheap, then I won't make any money. Well, the problem is you're not making money anyway.
Yeah.
So you haven't made a sale yet because the price hasn't actually been purchased by anybody. So in this particular case, try that out. That's part of revenue management as well. One of the hardest parts of revenue management is managing the client. As anybody will tell you about managing Blue Lily, for example. No, that's a client with a lot of demands. But I'm actually quite. Oh, actually, you went recently.
Because we can choose it.
When you change the price, we have that capability there, yep. But we have also another new capability that we've never done before.
Giving the new room for
We can influence design. We can influence now not just design, we can influence feature. We can influence innovation.
Yeah.
Blue Lily is a person who we've got hooked onto revenue now, right? She's addicted to it. She likes seeing this money flow in. And so for her, it's like she sees this money come in, so we would say to her, hey, look, would you like to have more money? She goes, yeah. All right? So what if you did this? What if you did this? What if you did this? Wouldn't that actually help your thing.
Yeah.
And she listened. She added another room from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom, and she added kayaks because we said if you put in kayaks, so people will really enjoy staying there. So this is a new chapter. This is where you can go with revenue management. You can take the revenue and use it as a means of getting growth to happen. So when they start growing, it's because they want to get more of that revenue growth. How are you going to get there? Any reasonable, smart people know that you cannot sell X for higher if you don't really add any more value. So we can ask for that value. We can start these conversations. And this is how we become the most innovative hospitality company in the world. We're essentially leading people to innovate. They innovate. We don't have to spend the money. We don't have to whatever, but we can influence. We can say, hey, look, if you do this, you will probably get this much more returns. If you do this, you will get this much more. If you add this, this could help this. And if you've been doing a good job in revenue management and you've been able to successfully predict, deliver, they will listen to you. Because why wouldn't they listen to you? You're right. Every time I listen to you, I make money. So that's essentially the power of revenue management. And that's the next level, I guess, right? Revenue management is community management. It is leading the entire community. And once you do this, you can go over to the next person and say, hey, look, you don't have kayaks. You don't have a 4th bedroom. Maybe you should do that too, right? And they go, yeah, I should, right? And so now you can bring this entire community along into this innovation pathway. And that then moves your product to the top of search because all your products are amazing. You have kayaks. Nobody else has kayaks at all in Bali for their villas. Zero. So that, I think, is how we are going to lead innovation in this particular world. But it starts with delivering a promise, right? You promise this, you deliver. You promise this, you deliver. You promise this. And this is why we always talk about projection models. If you can project what they're going to make using this little graph here, you say, well, don't tell them how it's done, but just do it and say, hey, look, I can probably guess how much you're going to make, all right? And if you give me control of the price, I can probably make it for you. How does that sound? Sounds good. Sounds good. I prefer making $4,000 a month than $0 a month, all right? So then you have a business relationship. Okay, and that's going to be useful throughout your entire life.
Yes.
That's just, yeah. If you can come to me and say that, Jing, I will make the company this much amount. You should pay me this much, right? Okay, then do it. And then, oh, you're right, okay. And then you come back to me and say, Jing, I have a new idea. I'm going to make the company this much amount. You should pay me this amount. Okay. And you can probably stage your own career progress that way. If you can predict how you can add value, and you can add value by taking control, then you probably will have as much access to as much control over whatever you need as any smart business owner will give you. Huh? And I would do that. If you guys would think of those ways to say, hey, I have a projection, I think we can do this, this, and this, and this, and I can deliver each month, then that's not just inside of the company. That's essentially what companies are worth. When you go in the stock market, you buy Apple, or you buy Facebook, or you buy Google stock, that's essentially what you're buying. They're projecting that next year, I'm going to make this much money, and this is why you're paying this much for it. Because when I make that money, the value of the stock will go up, more people will buy it, and you're going to cash out. You're going to buy in at 55 and sell out at 75, right? Because of your ability to hit these projections. So this stuff is cool. And what separates most people from being able to do that is just this kind of stuff, right? But we're discovering it right now. So it's kind of cool. All right, anyways, that's pretty much it. Any questions?
No, it's
No? Yeah? Any questions?
We don't finish the example.
Oh yeah.
We haven't finished that yet, but we've also run out of time. So,
Yes.
all right. What is going to be your next follow-up step to this?
Probably talk to the owner and change the price.
Right. But how are you going to convince them? How are you going to persuade them to do it?
Make a projection.
Make a projection. Tell them, hey, look, sir, October actually should be higher than November sales. So far, we got 594. We think that if you give me control over the pricing, I think I can push that number up to you by maybe 1,000, right? Maybe you can go back a few months ago and you can look at the past 3 months, right? And you can then look, hey, is 1,000 doable? Let's take a look. Lawful.
Hello, sir.
Hey, copywriting guild. Okay, 1,000 might be a little bit hard.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys are here for copywriting. Okay. All right. We're gonna be out soon. We'll be out in 2 minutes. Okay, so you can probably give a projection of, let's say, all right, in October, if I can get you the same as in August, and I can get you the same as in August because all I need to do is to sell, what, like 2 nights or 3 nights. You have 20 nights available. How would it make you feel? Great. Well, then let me do it for you. Let me sell 2 nights and get you that money. All right. So give me the price I need, and I'll get that sold for you, and I'll make it the same as August. That is pretty convincing. Okay. If he doesn't say okay, then he's kind of an idiot, and maybe you just have to change your tactic again or whatever. But okay. All right. That's that. Okay. Done. Okay. I have to adjourn it because we have the next thing. Okay. All right. Anything we should talk about the next revenue management? No. That's. Nope. Okay.
How to set nightly rates?
How to set nightly rates. Okay. You missed a few of these. We've talked about that before. Yeah. You missed the last one. Okay. All right. Cool. Done.